All right, let's jump into our BL drama starter pack. We know you're ready to explore, but maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, right? There's just so much out there.
It really is a massive world with tons of variety. It can be tough to figure out where to even begin.
Exactly. You want quality, not just a giant watch list, right?
Yeah.
So for this deep dive, we're going with one expert's review. They picked out some BL dramas that are truly something special, going way beyond just basic recommendations. Trust me, you'll get some real insights into just how much depth this genre has. And we'll be checking out different years, different themes, the whole deal.
A real journey through BL. We'll start with some of the newer stuff, the hot dramas that are making waves right now.
Perfect. Let's kick things off with 2024. Anything in particular catch this expert's eye?
Well, 2024 hasn't been the biggest year for BL dramas so far, but there's one title that really stood out. Osan's Love Returns. It's a Japanese sequel, and get this, the expert actually thought it was better than the original.
A sequel that's better. That's not something you hear every day. Most sequels just feel like they're rehashing the same old stuff. What made this one different?
The expert specifically mentioned the writing and the character arcs much more engaging this time around. Sounds like they managed to capture that original spark while adding in some, real depth and complexity.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And this one's a romantic comedy, yeah. What makes the humor work so well?
Definitely a rom-com. The expert praised the humor, called it charming and spot on. Now, I know those might sound a little generic, but knowing this expert, they don't just throw those words around. It's got to be more than just surface-level jokes. Probably some cleverness there, some genuine heart, without getting too sweet.
Subtlety and heart. Got it. I'll keep that in mind. All right, on to 2023. Looks like this was a big year for BL. The expert picked out 3 dramas that really show how diverse the genre can be. First up, I Feel You Linger in the Air. A Thai historical romance. I'm already hooked by the historical setting. That's not something you see too often.
Exactly. That's what drew the expert to this one. A really ambitious storyline, themes of destiny, reincarnation, even forbidden love, all against this beautifully done historical setting. And they said the show does a fantastic job of balancing the big romantic moments with these quieter, more emotionally charged scenes between the leads.
Okay, that's interesting. Most romances, BL or not, focus on those big romantic gestures, the huge declarations. But you're saying, I Feel You Linger in the Air nails the quiet moments. What's an example?
They mention a scene where the characters are just reading poetry together. But it's the way their fingers brush, incredibly moving. That power of subtlety, a touch can speak volumes.
I totally get it. It's creating that sense of intimacy and longing through those tiny details, letting us experience the romance instead of being hit over the head with it.
All right, I Feel You Linger in the Air is officially on my list. What else from 2023?
Next is a Korean drama called The Eighth Sense. This one's getting praise for its realism and how mature it is. Honestly, that's so refreshing to see. Tell me about it. Are we finally moving past the whole high school romance thing? What makes The Eighth Sense feel mature? Is it the themes, the characters, the whole tone?
Seems like it's a bit of everything. The show treats its characters like actual adults. They're in their early 20s, dealing with love, ambition, career pressure. The show doesn't shy away from those messier, more realistic sides of relationships and choices.
So it's connecting with people who are maybe a bit older, right? Who've had some life experience and want a show that reflects that whole adulting thing. What kind of career stuff are we talking here? Every show has its own take on ambition. Is there anything special about how The Eighth Sense handles it?
The expert specifically pointed out the main character. He's a dancer, really driven, struggling to balance his passion with the realities of the professional world. That's something a lot of people can relate to for sure. But I wonder if it's the world of dance specifically, that adds another layer to it all.
Yeah, good point. Dance is a metaphor for passion, discipline, vulnerability. That's a lot to think about. And the other main character, what's his ambition?
He's a composer, super talented, but really struggling with self-doubt, lots of pressure to succeed. It's how their journeys, both personal and professional, intertwine that seems to really make this drama so powerful. The clash of those artistic personalities, the shared drive for excellence, and then the internal battles that come with chasing your dreams.
Art, ambition, and love all rolled into one.
Yeah.
Okay, The Eighth Sense is on my list now, too. So we've got historical romance, we've got some mature realism. What else did 2023 bring us?
Last one for 2023 is Cherry Magic Thailand. It's a remake of a popular Japanese series. Now, remakes can be risky. especially for our expert who clearly values originality.
Exactly what I was thinking. What surprised them about this remake? What made it stand out from the original?
Well, they were actually pleasantly surprised. They said it managed to capture the heart and humor of the original, but it also brought something fresh and endearing to the table. Specifically mentioned the chemistry between the leads, maybe it's the actors, the way they interpret the characters, that lifts this remake beyond just a simple rehash.
Chemistry is so crucial for any romance, but especially for BL. It's all about that connection between the leads. All right, Cherry Magic Thailand, noted. Let's move on to 2022. Any BL standouts from that year?
2022 had some good ones, but one film really made an impression, Eternal Yesterday. Got a near-perfect score from the expert. That is high praise, considering how picky they are.
Whoa, almost perfect. Definitely got my attention. What makes it so special?
It's described as a school romance, but with a twist. And it's infused with this kind of otherworldly melancholy.
Melancholy, huh? That's an interesting tone for a BL, especially school romance. What kind of melancholy are we talking about here? Bittersweet, hopeful, despairing.
Yeah.
That specific flavor can really change a whole story's mood.
Such a good question. And unfortunately, the review doesn't really dive into those specifics, just mentions that melancholy is present throughout. But, knowing how much the expert loved the film, I bet it's not some simple one-dimensional sadness. Probably more complex, maybe a feeling of longing or a bittersweet nostalgia that adds to the love story.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. School romance, a twist, some complex melancholy. You've got me hooked. Tell me about this twist.
One of the main characters actually dies right at the beginning of the film.
Whoa, all right, that's not your typical school romance. It sounds like an emotional roller coaster. Does he come back as a ghost? Is there time travel? What's going on?
That's the interesting part. He does come back, but he's not quite the same as before. The review keeps the details of his return pretty mysterious. But it's clear his death and his reappearance really changed things for him and the other lead.
So some supernatural stuff going on here. Sounds like Eternal Yesterday is going to be exploring grief, loss, that whole idea of love enduring, even facing death. Might need tissues for this one. All right, let's shift gears a bit. We've had some heavy stuff. Anything from 2022 that's got a completely different energy?
If you're looking for something lighter, more on the comedic side, Semantic Error might be perfect. Korean drama plays on that whole opposites attract thing.
Opposites attract. Okay, you've got my attention. That's one of those tropes that can be super charming or super cliche, depending on how it's done. What makes Semantic Error stand out?
The whole premise is about a computer science student, very meticulous rule follower type. And then you've got this free-spirited design student. They're forced to work together on a project.
I can already picture the sparks.
Oh.
But come on, we've seen this dynamic a million times. Does Semantic Error do anything unique, anything to subvert the cliches? Is the humor clever or character-driven?
The expert really loved how the characters interact, praised the comedic timing, the way their personalities clash. Even mentioned a scene where the computer science student, trying to understand the design student's creative process, ends up spilling paint all over himself.
Classic opposites attract scenario. But if it's done well, that can be hilarious. It's all in the execution. Okay, I'm willing to give Semantic Error a shot.
Right.
All right, what about 2021? What gems did that year bring us?
2021 gave us what the expert considers, and I quote, the pinnacle of the genre. A Thai show called Bad Buddy.
Whoa, the pinnacle. That's a huge statement. What makes Bad Buddy so special? Don't just tell me they loved it. Tell me why they loved it. What sets it apart from all the other BLs out there?
They said it blends humor, heartfelt moments, amazing chemistry between the leads. Everything just works. But they actually pointed to one specific scene that really shows what the show is all about.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the scene?
It's the two main characters sharing an ice cream cone. As they reach for the last bite, their fingers brush. The expert said, this moment sums up everything that makes Bad Buddy so good.
Wow, that's a surprisingly simple scene for the pinnacle. But I'm guessing it's about more than just the ice cream, right? What makes this everyday moment so powerful?
You got it. It's not really about the ice cream itself. It's about how the scene is shot, how the actors convey so much through their expressions, their hesitant touches, all that unspoken tension. Shows the director's skill, finding those tiny, intimate moments that tell you everything about how these characters feel about each other.
Okay, now I'm starting to understand why this expert thinks Bad Buddy is the pinnacle. It's about those seemingly unimportant moments that actually say so much about the relationship. Showing, not telling. Adding it to the list. Now, Bad Buddy sounds like a classic romance. What about something from 2021 that breaks the mold a little?
Absolutely. Not Me, also from 2021, really blew the expert away. It mixes action, social commentary, and romance. The main character takes on his twin brother's identity to figure out what happened after an accident.
Hold on, a twin switch. Now that's something you don't see every day in BL dramas. What kind of social commentary are we talking?
As he digs deeper into his brother's life, he gets pulled into this world of activism and political intrigue. The show tackles things like social justice, corruption, fighting for equality.
So there's a lot more going on here than just romance. It's using the BL genre to explore some big issues, get people thinking critically. But that can be hard to do well. How does Not Me make social justice compelling? Is it preachy at all?
That's the thing. The expert was really impressed with how Not Me weaves those themes in without ever feeling preachy and without sacrificing the emotional core of the story. They said it encourages critical thinking while still being a really engaging show.
Wow, a lot to process there. Twin switch, a bit of danger, and a thoughtful look at social justice. Not Me is going straight to the top of my list. Okay, let's keep moving through time. What did 2020 bring to the BL world?
From 2020, there's a Japanese film called The Cornered Mouse Dreams of Cheese. It's based on a manga, which always makes me a little nervous, you know?
Oh, I hear you. Adaptations are a gamble. Sometimes they nail it, sometimes they miss the mark completely. What did the expert think of this one?
Loved it, praised it for being so honest and raw and how it portrays this complicated relationship between two guys who are classmates. They reconnect after years apart.
Sounds interesting. A lot of BLs focus on new love, that first encounter excitement. It's not often you see one that digs into rekindled relationships, especially ones that come with baggage and past hurt. What kind of baggage are we talking?
One of the characters is stuck in an unhappy marriage while the other is dealing with his own personal struggles. It's not your typical happy ever after kind of romance. More messy, complicated, very human.
That's what makes it interesting. Life is messy, relationships are messy. I appreciate that The Cornered Mouse Dreams of Cheese doesn't shy away from that. Okay, The Cornered Mouse Dreams of Cheese, got it. Now, before we move on, I got to ask you about one more, a classic.
Yeah.
You know, can't talk about BL without mentioning it.
I know exactly what you're thinking. No DL journey is complete without Yuri on Ice.
Absolutely. Premiered back in 2016, but it's a modern classic. Amazing animation, gorgeous music, and the characters, so well developed.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, it's a sports anime. A figure skater rediscovers his passion, all thanks to his idol, a legendary Russian skater who becomes his mentor.
It's about finding your passion, pushing your limits, and embracing that vulnerability and connection. And yeah, there's a beautiful love story woven through it all. Okay, we've covered a lot here. A whole range of BL dramas from different years, different countries, but this is just the beginning.
Right, yeah. Just a taste. There's a whole world of amazing BL dramas out there, waiting to be discovered, each one with its own unique perspective on love, life, everything.
That's what makes this genre so exciting. There's always something new to explore, a new story to fall for. Before we move on, I'm curious, out of all the dramas we talked about today, which one really stood out to you?
Honestly, they all sound great, but I'm drawn to Eternal Yesterday. That mix of school romance, the supernatural element, and that complex melancholy. So intriguing. Really curious to see how they handle those themes, how they create a love story that's heartbreaking but hopeful at the same time. What about you? Which one caught your eye?
Yeah, Eternal Yesterday gets me too. That near-perfect score, that's got to mean something. Definitely does. It's going on the list. But, you know, we've talked a lot about plots and what makes these dramas stand out. I'm curious about the specific moments, you know, the scenes that really stuck with you, the ones that stay in your mind even after you're done watching.
That's a great question. I think that's what makes a BL truly memorable, right? Those scenes that go beyond the plot, that tap into something deeper, something we all connect with.
Totally. The moments that make you feel something, the ones that linger. So what scenes fit that description for you?
That ice cream scene from Bad Buddy comes to mind right away. You could easily write it off as a cliche, you know, two people sharing ice cream. But the way the expert described it, it's so much more than that. It's the longing, the hesitant touches, their eyes meeting over that melting ice cream. It just captures everything about their connection, those feelings simmering beneath the surface.
I'm starting to understand why that scene resonated so strongly. It's not really about the ice cream, is it? It's about what it represents. That growing intimacy, the unspoken desires, how they navigate their feelings in a world that might not understand or accept them.
Exactly. A perfect little microcosm of their whole relationship shows how Bad Buddy uses those tiny gestures, the subtle storytelling to convey those deeper emotions.
Makes sense. Finding the universal within the specific, right? Using a simple moment to show the complexities of their relationship. Any other scenes that stand out?
There's one from Eternal yesterday that really got to me. The expert mentioned a scene where the character who died tries to comfort his partner, but he can't physically touch him.
Oh, wow. That's heartbreaking. To be so close to someone you love, but unable to reach them, to comfort them, it really makes you think about those limitations, how death can create these barriers we can't cross.
But it also shows how strong love can be, how it can go beyond those limitations. Even though they can't touch, their connection is still there.
That's what makes Eternal Yesterday so special. It's not afraid to explore those difficult emotions, the pain of loss. But it also reminds us that even when things are tragic, love can find a way.
Finding beauty and hope, even in sorrow, that's a powerful message.
Speaking of powerful messages, BL dramas are often celebrated for how they portray masculinity, challenging those traditional roles and expectations. Did any of these dramas stand out to you in that way?
A few of them touch on it, for sure, but I think The Eighth Sense deserves a shout-out. It explores masculinity through the vulnerability and emotional depth of its characters, not through big gestures or, trying to be macho.
So it's not about rejecting traditional masculinity completely. It's more about broadening our understanding of what it means to be a man.
Exactly. The main character, the dancer, embodies a kind of strength and grace that you don't usually see in those traditional masculine ideals. He's passionate, expressive, in touch with his emotions.
And then you have the composer, struggling with his doubts, the pressure to be successful. He represents a different side, one that's often hidden.
Right. The Eighth Sense shows us there are many ways to be a man, many ways to express strength and vulnerability, and it does it in a way that feels real, relatable.
I think that's a big reason why BL dramas are connecting with so many people. They offer different perspectives on masculinity, on love, on connection, perspectives that challenge what we see in mainstream media.
Breaking free from those boxes, celebrating the full spectrum of human experience.
And we can't forget about cultural context. BL drama started in Asia, right, and they become globally popular. But it's interesting to think about how Asian culture plays a role in their appeal.
Such a good point. I think the emphasis on community, on relationships in many Asian cultures is a big factor. You see that in BL dramas, how they prioritize family, friendship, those support networks. It's not just about the romance, it's about how the characters are connected to a larger community.
Right. It's not two people falling in love in a vacuum. It's about how their relationship affects and is affected by the people around them.
Yeah.
Families, friends, even rivals.
Exactly. And that focus on community influences how love and intimacy are portrayed. It's not always those grand gestures or declarations. Sometimes it's the quiet moments, the small acts of caring, those unspoken bonds that tie them together.
Showing love is a multifaceted experience, woven into their lives and connections with others.
Absolutely. It's about the different ways love can show up, the ways people express affection and support.
I think that resonates with people from all backgrounds, but maybe even more so with people from collectivist cultures, where the group is valued over the individual.
True. BL dramas give us a glimpse into a world where relationships are so important, where community shapes who you are, where love is shown in both big and small ways. It's refreshing, especially in a world that often emphasizes being independent.
And it's not just about cultural nuances. BL dramas are pushing boundaries in terms of LGBTQ plus representation too, right? Showing us these multifaceted, nuanced portrayals of queer characters.
Absolutely. And that representation matters, especially for viewers who don't often see themselves reflected in mainstream media.
It's about normalizing same-sex relationships, showcasing the beauty and complexity of love, no matter the gender, challenging those stereotypes and misconceptions about LGBTQ plus individuals.
Yeah.
And it does it all in a way that's entertaining and makes you think.
And it's reaching a global audience, starting conversations, building understanding across cultures. It's helping to break down those walls of prejudice, create a more inclusive world.
It's safe to say that BL dramas are more than just a trend. They're a cultural force, and they're changing how we see love, relationships, even society itself.
And as they keep evolving, keep pushing those boundaries, it's exciting to think about what conversations they'll spark, what new perspectives they'll bring, what new possibilities they'll unlock.
This deep dive has been amazing. We've explored these BL dramas, analyzed them, talked about bigger trends, the impact the genre's having. But like we've been saying, this is just the starting point for you to explore.
So many incredible BL dramas out there, each with its own special something. Go out there, explore, find the stories that speak to you.
Don't be afraid to step outside your comfort zone. Try new things. Let yourself be swept away by these stories.
And most importantly, have fun. BL dramas are full of wonder, laughter, those heartwarming moments. Enjoy the ride. Let them take you to new worlds, new possibilities.
Well said. And on that note, I think we've officially reached the end of our BL deep dive. But before we wrap up this part, I want to shift gears one last time and look to the future. We've seen how BL dramas have changed over time, from those early, more formulaic stories to the more complex and nuanced narratives we're seeing today.
It's been fascinating to see. It makes you wonder, what's next? What new trends are you excited about? What's coming down the pipeline?
One thing I've noticed is more historical BL dramas. Like I Feel You Linger in the Air. It's so cool to see how creators are using those historical settings to explore LGBTQ plus relationships in different time periods, challenging those norms and expectations of the past.
Right. Historical BLs give us a chance to really delve into history, show that love and desire have always been there, even in societies that weren't as accepting. It highlights how resilient people were, how strong, to love differently even when faced with adversity.
It's a good reminder that LGBTQ plus stories have always been a part of history, even if they weren't always told. And by bringing those stories to light, maybe these dramas can help us understand each other better today. Besides historical settings, I'm also seeing more BL dramas tackling those heavier social issues.
Totally agree. Shows like Not Me prove that BL can be a platform for social commentary. Get viewers thinking about justice, equality, corruption.
It's not just about raising awareness, right? It's about motivating people to actually do something, be a part of change.
Exactly. It's about using the power of storytelling to connect with people on a deeper level, make them care about these issues, make them feel like they can make a difference. Proof that entertainment and activism can go together. But BL dramas aren't all serious and deep, you know? They're also more of those genre-bending stories. Fantasy, mystery, thriller, even horror.
That's what I love about this genre. It's always evolving, pushing boundaries, surprising us. Mixing BL romance with other genres opens up so many possibilities for storytelling.
For sure. It keeps things fresh, brings in new audiences, shows that BL stories can be just as diverse and creative as any other kind of story.
Imagine a BL romance with magical realism, right? A supernatural mystery, but at its core, a queer love story, or crime drama, but the detectives are also a couple. The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. And we can't forget how BL dramas are impacting the whole entertainment industry. We're seeing more BL content being made all over the world. Streaming is huge for bringing these stories to a bigger audience.
It's amazing to see how BL is breaking down those geographical barriers, connecting with people everywhere. It really shows that these stories are universal. Love, longing, heartbreak, joy. Those are human experiences we all share, no matter the language or culture.
Absolutely. And with that global reach, there's this amazing fan community growing. People who are passionate about BL, excited to share that love with others. It's so inspiring to see this genre bring people together, create a sense of belonging for those who might feel like they don't fit in.
It's a beautiful thing. BL is creating a space for celebration, discussion, and even advocacy. Fans connecting with each other, sharing ideas, supporting the creators and actors who bring these stories to life.
It's a powerful community growing all the time and making a real difference both online and offline. It's only going to get bigger and more influential.
BL dramas have come such a long way. It's really exciting to think about what the future holds for this genre. Always changing, always growing. This deep dive has been an incredible journey, wouldn't you say? We've explored these amazing BL dramas, talked about what makes them special, and discussed the bigger picture, the impact this genre is having. But like we've said, this is just the start of your own BL adventure.
There are so many fantastic BL dramas out there just waiting to be discovered, each one unique, each one with its own charm. So go out there, explore, and find the stories that speak to you.
Don't be afraid to try new things, to step outside your comfort zone. Let yourself get swept away by the power of these stories.
And remember, have fun. The world of BL is full of wonder, laughter, and those heartwarming moments that just make you feel good. Enjoy the journey. Let these stories take you to new places, open you up to new possibilities.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And with that, we've reached the end of our BL deep dive. Happy watching, everyone.